On May 19, 1780, a phenomenon occurred in New England. The sky turned dark in the middle of the day, plunging the region into an unnatural blackness. Birds stopped singing, candles were lit, and many feared it was the end of the world. The darkness lasted for over a day, and its cause remains a subject of debate. Scientists believe it was likely due to a combination of forest fires, volcanic activity, and dense fog, but the event's intensity and duration continue to intrigue historians and meteorologists. Known as New England's Dark Day, in 1975, musician Jim Sullivan vanished without a trace after leaving Los Angeles for Nashville. His car was found abandoned in the New Mexico desert, with no sign of Sullivan. His album, UFO, released years earlier, contained lyrics about alienation and leaving Earth, leading to speculation that he was abducted by aliens. Despite extensive searches, Sullivan's fate remains unknown. In the 1920s, Russian scientist Alexander Bogdanov conducted bizarre experiments in an attempt to achieve eternal youth. He believed that blood transfusions from younger individuals could reverse aging and extend life. Bogdanov performed numerous transfusions on himself, initially claiming improved health and vitality. However, in 1928, he died after receiving blood from a student infected with malaria and tuberculosis. In the 19th century, Dr. Robert Kedzie published a book titled Shadows from the Walls of Death, which contained samples of arsenic-laced wallpaper. At the time, arsenic was commonly used in wallpaper dyes, and Kedzie sought to raise awareness of its deadly effects. The book was distributed to libraries, but many copies were destroyed due to their toxic content. Only 4 known copies survive today, stored in protective cases. The Superman curse refers to a series of tragedies and misfortunes that have befallen actors and creators associated with the Superman franchise. George Reeves, the star of the 1950s Adventures of Superman TV series, died under mysterious circumstances in 1959. Christopher Reeve, who played Superman in the 1970s and 1980s films, was paralyzed in a horseback riding accident and later died of complications. Other cast members, such as Margot Kidder, Lois Lane, struggled with mental health issues. In 2009, a statue of the Virgin Mary in Mexico City became the center of a mysterious and deeply emotional phenomenon when it reportedly began weeping tears. The statue, located in a small church, drew hundreds of visitors who witnessed the liquid streaming from the Virgin's eyes. Many believed it was a divine miracle, while skeptics questioned whether it was a hoax or a natural occurrence. The liquid was later analyzed and found to be a mixture of olive oil and perfume, but the source of the tears remains unexplained. Robert Johnson, a legendary blues musician, is said to have made a deal with the devil at a Mississippi crossroads to achieve his extraordinary talent. According to folklore, Johnson met the devil at midnight and traded his soul for mastery of the guitar. His haunting music and mysterious death at age 27 fueled the myth, making him a central figure in blues lore. In Tibet, a sacred funeral practice known as sky burial reflects deep Buddhist beliefs about the cycle of life and returning to nature. In this tradition, the deceased are placed in high-altitude locations where the natural world plays a role in their final transition. Considered a respectful and meaningful way to honor those who have passed, sky burials are a long-standing ritual deeply rooted in Tibetan culture. In 1987, a house in Atlanta, Georgia became the center of a bizarre and terrifying phenomenon when its walls began oozing a red, blood-like substance. The homeowners, Andre Rand and his family, were horrified as the liquid appeared on walls, ceilings, and even furniture, creating an eerie and unsettling atmosphere. The family initially feared the substance was blood, but investigations revealed it was a mixture of iron oxide and water, likely caused by a chemical reaction in the pipes. Despite the scientific explanation, the event sparked widespread rumors of supernatural activity, curses, and even demonic presence. Jo Cameron, a Scottish woman, has a rare genetic condition called congenital insensitivity to pain, which means she feels little to no physical pain. She also experiences minimal anxiety and has an unusually high level of happiness. While her condition may sound like a blessing, it comes with significant risks, as pain is a crucial warning signal for injury or illness. Marilyn Monroe, the iconic Hollywood actress, has been the subject of numerous ghost sightings since her untimely death in 1962. Visitors to her former home in Los Angeles and the Roosevelt Hotel, where she once lived, have reported seeing her apparition and hearing her voice. Some believe her spirit remains tied to the places she frequented, unable to find peace. The Poltergeist film series has long been surrounded by eerie speculation, with some fans believing in the so-called poltergeist curse. Over the years, several cast members faced unfortunate circumstances, leading to theories about the film's unusual history. Some point to the use of real skeletons as props as a possible source of superstition, while others believe these events were purely coincidental. During the production of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, a series of tragic and unsettling events occurred, leading some to believe the films were cursed. The most notable tragedy was the death of Heath Ledger, who delivered an iconic performance as the Joker in The Dark Knight. Ledger passed away in January 2008, just months before the film's release. His death cast a somber shadow over the movie's success and left fans mourning the loss of a brilliant actor. Other misfortunes followed. Morgan Freeman, who played Lucius Fox, was involved in a serious car accident in 2008, and Christian Bale, the star of the trilogy, was arrested for allegedly assaulting his mother and sister during a family dispute. The production of The Exorcist, 1973, was plagued by strange accidents and tragedies leading to rumors of a curse. A fire destroyed the set, several crew members were injured, and actor Jack McGowan died of influenza shortly after filming. New Orleans is famous for its above-ground cemeteries, often referred to as cities of the dead. Due to the city's high water table, traditional burials were impractical, leading to the construction of elaborate tombs and mausoleums. These cemeteries, such as St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, are filled with ornate, decaying structures that evoke a haunting beauty. In medieval Europe, corpse roads were designated paths used to transport the dead to distant burial grounds, often due to parish boundary disputes. These routes, also known as coffin paths, were believed to be haunted by spirits and ghosts. Folklore warned against walking these paths at night as they were thought to be frequented by restless souls. Some corpse roads were marked with stone crosses or coffin stones to guide mourners and ward off evil spirits. While no official records confirm human remains lost in space, a Cold War-era urban legend claims a Soviet cosmonaut's fatal technical failure during a secret mission left their body adrift in orbit. Historians dismiss this as propaganda, citing declassified documents that confirm all Soviet spaceflight deaths occurred on Earth. A little-documented urban legend from the early 20th century tells of a photographer who, while composing a shot of a decaying mansion, unknowingly captured his own death in the reflection of a window. After he was found dead at the scene, reportedly from a fall, the recovered film revealed a blurred figure mid-collapse in the glass pane, matching his final moments. Skeptics argue the figure was a trick of light or developing errors, as double exposures were common in early photography. The original print was lost. Historical records from 19th century opera houses note that some singers' vocal organs were preserved posthumously for anatomical study. One such case involved a soprano whose larynx was removed and stored in a glass jar after her death. The artifact later went missing, leading to speculation about its fate, though most scholars attribute its disappearance to poor archival practices, while rumors of ghostly singing persisted. A 17th century grimoire housed in a Prague library was blamed for causing nausea and headaches in readers. Conservators discovered its leather binding was tanned with arsenic, while mold spores in the pages released mycotoxins. The book, originally a pharmacist's manual, was mislabeled as cursed due to its occult-style illustrations. In 1976, a fisherman found a bottle containing a cryptic poem about drowning in moonlight. 2 years later, the author, a reclusive poet, was found dead on a beach during a full moon, his lungs filled with seawater. Police ruled it accidental, noting he often wrote metaphors about his fear of the ocean. Literary scholars argue the poem was a therapeutic exercise, not a prophecy. Installed in a New England lighthouse in 1892, a single pane of glass survived hurricanes, vandalism, and even a direct cannonball test during World War II. Engineers discovered it was an experimental prototype infused with horsehair and resin, creating a flexible, near unbreakable material. The glassmaker, who died bankrupt after failing to market his invention, reportedly embedded a strand of his wife's hair in the pane as a good luck charm. A 1920s Texas cemetery was rumored to emit faint organ music at dusk. Acoustic engineers traced the sound to underground pipes corroded by roots, creating whistle-like tones when wind passed through. The music stopped in 2010 after a drainage renovation. A 19th century French automaton doll donated to a toy museum appeared to shift positions and smile under night vision cameras. Curators discovered temperature changes warped its wax face, while faulty gears caused incremental movements. The doll's original owner, a clockmaker, had built it to mimic his deceased daughter. The MV Elda, a 1960s cargo ship, was found drifting near the Azores in 1988 with tables set for dinner and engines idling. No crew or lifeboats were missing, but logs hinted at a sudden carbon monoxide leak from a faulty generator. Investigators theorized the crew evacuated hastily, but the life raft disintegrated at sea. A Finnish woodland gained fame for whispers heard by hikers, low human-like murmurs with no visible source. Acoustic studies attributed it to wind funneling through pine needles and a rare moth species mating called vibrating tree sap. In 2003, a Brazilian man's funeral was interrupted when he wandered into the service, confused but alive. Authorities had misidentified a homeless man's body as his due to a stolen ID. The error sparked a national debate about forensic protocols, while the resurrected man joked about discounting his own eulogy. During a 1990s cemetery relocation, workers discovered a 1920s coffin with deep scratches inside the lid. Forensic experts concluded the occupant, a young woman declared dead during a cholera coma, likely awoke post-burial. Soil analysis showed shifted earth, suggesting brief struggle. A marble statue in a Romanian church allegedly weeps red fluid every April 12th. Scientists traced the liquid to mineral-rich groundwater seeping through cracks tinted by iron oxide. The date aligns with seasonal thawing, but locals still tie it to the 1945 death of a priest who opposed communist iconoclasm. A 1950s avant-garde composer claimed to write music during hypnotic trances. After disappearing mid-tour, his unfinished sheet music was found covered in erratic symbols. Psychologists theorized sleep-deprived psychosis, while musicians later decoded the notes as a playable, though dissonant, piece. A Victorian-era clock in an English manor reportedly stopped at 3:17 a.m. in 1901, the exact time its inventor-owner died of heart failure. Engineers later found a hidden wound spring mechanism designed to pause, if not rewound daily, suggesting the owner's routine was his life's rhythm. A reclusive 1920s painter diagnosed with tuberculosis allegedly mixed his blood into pigments for a final self-portrait titled The Crimson Farewell. Art conservators confirmed iron-rich compounds in the red hues but attributed it to oxidized materials. A 19th-century whaling ship lost in Arctic ice in 1897 emerged nearly intact in 2002 due to glacial melt. Inside, researchers found crew members preserved by sub-zero temperatures, their journals detailing a desperate wait for rescue. Forensic analysis revealed they succumbed to scurvy and lead poisoning from canned food. In 1978, an abandoned 1930s carnival site was discovered in the Nevada desert. Its Ferris wheel rusted and a roller coaster car containing 2 skeletal remains still secured by decaying seatbelts. Investigators linked the victims to a pair of carnival workers, reported missing in 1941, likely trapped during a sandstorm that buried the site. The ride's corroded safety mechanisms and lack of maintenance records underscored early 20th century amusement park hazards. During World War II, a Canadian radio tower intercepted a looped message of a man gasping, "It's too late, they're inside," traced to an abandoned farmhouse. Inside, a damaged transmitter was found, powered by a jury-rigged car battery. No bodies were discovered, but police linked it to a prank by teenage electronics enthusiasts. The 1939 World's Fair time capsule, opened in 2020, included a wax cylinder labeled The Rhythm of Life. Playback revealed a heartbeat-like pulse, later traced to a metronome accidentally sealed with the capsule. Curators speculate a worker's DIY attempt to preserve sound, but romantics insist it's the anonymous archivist's own heart recorded via stethoscope. A 1940s jazz musician's funeral featured an open casket beside his beloved piano. Mourners swore they heard faint notes of his signature ragtime tune during the service. Investigations revealed a nearby street performer had coincidentally played the same song that day. The piano was donated to a school where students still joke about ghostly sticky keys.